you guys ready to see this 300 get its power plant? Because I think we've stalled enough. We've had enough fun with this thing. Now it's time to start having fun with this one. So, here's to another. At least I hope so. Wow! What are you doing, Dad? High five. Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode here at Scott's Speed Shop. Jed here as always, and today we are back with that boat. And I cannot believe I did not trip right there. And as in back with this boat, as in this video, my plan, and our plan actually, is to make this thing semi-mobile. And that entails getting a daggone engine put back in this thing because, well, as a big Chrysler C-body, that is namely the trophy that everybody goes for, is the big blocks that they typically always have. And this one's 440, of course, is gone. But luckily, right behind this door is a 440. A steel crank 440, actually, in fact, that was destined to go into a 64 white sedan Dodge project that I'm now selling because, well, instead of building that, I really would rather build that thing. And so, anybody out there who wants a 64 Dodge sedan project, it is on Marketplace, or you can reach out to me in the email. So anyways, this engine is a great running engine, came from our good friend Steve at Roustabout Rod and Cycle, who has a YouTube channel, and he's been having trouble getting videos uploaded, but he is still hanging in there trying to get everything done. Dude is doing the good fight, so still having the American dream, so a little shout out to him. So the idea is to basically take this great running 440, divorce it from the transmission that we do not need, and get rid of all the gubbins we don't need either. These headers basically are going to go because I don't plan on putting headers in that guy. Still working on a name, really. My buddy Tom had a name, but we're all kind of just a little bit leery of going with it. Great White Whale. Anyway, so, and that's not the name actually, it's another one along, goes with it. Anyways, so, we've got our manifolds already set up, painted, all that duded up. I'm working on valve covers and getting this thing dressed up how I want it. But basically the engine just needs to get knocked off of that stand and that transmission and shoved right in there. And that won't take no time at all. Now what you're also seeing me working on right now is of course fixing this look of this car. In the last little segment, started the sand on this fender to make this whole side green to see what it would look like. And well, even though this isn't technically white, maybe it is, I don't know. This looks way better. So, I want to get this car kind of looking the way it's supposed to be, and this car was a factory white, green interior, black top. I'm going to say that about 6,000 times because I just like saying it, 'cause it's really odd. So right now I am sanding down the roof, which I have found just one baby pinhole of rust up in the front area, but we're going to have to do some body filler work here. But my goal right now is just to get everything sanded down smooth, so we're hitting it with some 320 grit, smoothing it all out. I got this whole side done and working on that side. So you can see the difference is this is got a texture. This is much smoother. And oh man, I just washed my hands. Daggone it. Oh, and it's all over my shirt. Oh well, it doesn't matter. So anyways, yeah, that's what we're working on, is we're sanding down this roof with some 320, and we just picked up this guy. Milwaukee tools are really awesome. This thing was like $100 at Home Depot, and yeah, awesome. So, gonna keep working on sanding this roof, then we're gonna tape off all the trim and the glass. And, you know, that's the one thing I regret about doing this right now, is it's getting late in the day, it's humid, and I gotta tape off all this glass. I hate this, but you know what? We're saving the car. I had a commenter who said, we can't save them all. Well, you know what? I can choose which ones I want to save, and the C-body is one of them. And speaking of which, there's that 64 white Dodge with the unfortunate hood stain that is for sale. So, what do you say? Let's work on some fuselage Mopars. I did! That is the coolest dude in the world right there. Alrighty, so we are on to the task of vanquishing the rust, which if you guys didn't know, we do have channel memberships. We don't offer much right now other than a couple of emojis. I'm not telling you guys to join or pay for any memberships because I don't think it's worth it yet. Maybe make it worth it, but we do have that. And if you do have like the small first tier, whatever, $5 you donate to the channel a month, you get the tag Vanquishers Rust, which is what we are about to do. So let's vanquish some rust. Hey, the whole team is here now. Look at that. You guys are gonna have that done in no time.
Yeah, how far down do you want us to
go?
All the way?
Yeah, it probably wouldn't matter. That'd probably be fine right there, honestly. I'll spray upwards. It's just spray paint. It's a special spray paint, but. All right, so I'm wiping everything down with acetone right now, and figure we might do a wipey speedy footage thing again. So here's to that. Cleaning montage. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna call that just about wiped down and good enough. The roof actually has kind of a sheen to it, so I think that's gonna look pretty darn good. At least with this rust-proofing paint, it'll at least give us a good starting point to actually put paint on top, and it will protect us. So yeah, so the keyboard warriors, you might say this is a waste of time. No, I've done this before. It's only a waste of time if you think it is. But in the scheme of things, this 300 is definitely worth the time spent on. So make it happen. Well, he says you did.
I think so.
As you keep taping. Daggone, how bad of a painter do you think I am? We really need to go that far back? Well, I don't know. That paint.
I was thinking spray.
That is true. I mean, the spray, there's a lot of trunk here. You gotta.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to get any overspray on this fine paint job.
Yeah.
That is true. It's not like we're going to repaint the car or already have paint for it or anything.
Yeah. Now we gotta do the glass too, because I don't want you to paint glass.
Yeah, we're not painting the glass. Well, guys and gals, I guess you're gonna have to wait until morning to see exactly how this turned out. So we'll check back in, I don't know, whenever the sun comes up. Well, hey, look at that. That is way freaking better, and I just scared the crap out of my parents because they weren't expecting me to come out here and start filming, but that is so much better looking. I don't know how it looks as far as tiger stripes and stuff, but I can tell you this much, it's way better than the rust. Heck, it even looks better on this side, the green side. That almost makes the green like a viable option. But yeah, we ended up painting this thing. It got so dark on us that we had to get flashlights out. Then we had to put the flashlights away because it was attracting the bugs. And oh, it didn't get too bad as far as tiger stripes. So I did that complete other side. And then this side, Anna started on the front side, and it started getting dark on her, and she couldn't really see what she was doing, and I ended up painting the rest of this basically at night just by looking at the sheen. So I don't think that turned out too bad, really. And the main thing with this rust-proofing paint here is just to keep this, not pervert, but prevent this from getting any worse. So that way we can come in here and do a little bit of light sanding just to rough this up, and we can put our body filler right here, because that paint is supposed to be applied directly to rusty crap, and supposed to convert it to a paintable metal. So at least now it's got a nice heavy thick coating of that to protect it, and plus it gives us an idea what this car is supposed to look like, and I freaking love it. I get why some people would part these things out at one point in time, but at the same time it's just a damn good looking car, and I dig it. I really dig that thing. Ah, there we go. We use Dad's service truck as a nice little standoff. Yep. Very happy with that. So, that is technically taken care of. We're here to move on to the old 440 in the barn. So we are joined by Mom, Dad, and there's the 440. We got the radiator from Auto City Classic. That's just who we always buy from. They don't cut us any deals, but they make those nice stock looking radiators. And already I had one for the Duster and figured, well, just get another one just to slap in there. So they're not too bad as far as the price. So we're gonna get this 660 off of this because this is the last carburetor we had on here for testing purposes. And of course, divorce the transmission. We got the correct C-body oil pan that was actually from our very first 65 383 we ever rebuilt, so it's kind of neat to be able to reuse that. And well, we'll get all this done and get this thing up in the air. We're going to drain the oil. We got to change the water pump housing and all that crap, and of course header's got to come off and oil pan, and we'll take a look at it underneath, and who knows, maybe we might. Yeah, we're probably not going to mess with the timing chain. It's probably fine. So let's get to work. Lift her up, Dad. Oh, you were supposed to make it look like you were picking it up.
Oh.
Well, here's a good look at the old 440. So I did take some time. I haven't really shown any of the video on that of cleaning this 440 and getting it painted gloss black, which was the intended color for the white trash project, the 64 Dodge it was going in, but it'll be fine for the old 300. It's not like it matters anyway. So, but yeah, nice gloss black paint job. It just got dusty from sitting in the barn and being the test mule it was. So just one more good look at her. I don't think that was too bad of a job cleaning that, really. Got the block pretty dang clean. So yep, last time this oil pan's gonna live on this engine. That sounds kind of light, but most of the oil is probably drained back to here. Yep, there it is. So we'll get one more look at that oil, make sure it looks okay, which it should. We'll be putting a dipstick in this engine finally because, well, it has this dipstick, but this is not functional. So we got a nice unit from Jags. We're going to put the correct motor mounts on this. The oil pump works. We ain't got to worry about that. The starter works great. In fact, since we're putting manifolds on it, so that's just going to stay right there more or less. Well, it's going to go to live in the car, but that transmission's got to come off. So, and then all that electronic gubbins, that stuff's got to come off. So, well, enough rambling. Next time you see us, this will look way different. Oh, it is the perfect time for an update because, well, the camera phone here is, old Montecito is on fire because the sun is blazing. And the 440, like I told you, the next time you see it, it's going to look wildly different. And as you can see, it looks kind of different. So I didn't completely lie. There's the one spot on the engine I couldn't clean because, well, I refused to take the starter off. And luckily the shadows were playing to my advantage there for a second. So, but we're just test fitting the motor mounts. I bought a set of these reproduction ones off of eBay and they weren't quite working, but eventually got them to work. The little dowels for mating into that hole right there, that top one, the new dowels they make are nowhere near as profound as the originals, which I hate to be that guy and say it, but they still work. But we got those test fitted. We're gonna have to get some bolts to mount them into the K-frame because, well, the other company that sells those is 440 Source, and they want like 50 extra bucks for the long through bolts, and there's a 3.5 inch, like 7/16. So yeah, I think we're just gonna go to the store and get those. Mom cleaned out the transmission lines. I cleaned out some crap. Normally I would clean all this stuff and have all this painted, but this is a project where it's like, let's just get this thing done. Screw it. Like, who cares if that stuff is still nasty, and let's just make it happen. So that's what we're doing. That transmission should be good. We got our manifold, or our attachments there, which this, of course, if you watched the other 2 videos, you have seen the build sheet. So, but yeah, pretty neat car, factory sure grip, all that stuff. So won't be long before we'll be dropping that 440 in here. Of course, we'll mark the hood hinges here because this hood does fit beautiful and we don't want to screw this up. So we'll mark these so that way we can put this hood back on in the right place, because that is a lot of freaking hood. And of course, what's coming up next will be, of course, changing the oil, or seeing what the oil looks like, changing the oil pan, windage tray, all that stuff. We got bolts. We ain't got to go to the store. Change the water pump on that thing, so that'll be coming up here real soon. Welcome back, guys. It's another day, and I apologize about my attitude in the last little segment of the video. It got late, and boy is it hot in the sun. And let me tell you, I'm standing in it right now, and it is amazing the difference shade gives you. But anyways, today brother is over, so we're getting to hang out with him for a little bit. But on the 300 deal, these were the valve covers that I had envisioned on polishing. I figured I would give these a go on polishing, and well, I just don't have the time nor the patience really to do it. I got that one started and I just said screw it, because I had to, you know, strip all the paint off of these and go through all that rigmarole. So I just decided, you know what, they're gonna be gold like that oil pan. And then we got some really clever ideas on how to do some stuff inside of those fins, so we're gonna make those things look pretty cool. We're gonna let Anna work her magic because she likes to do all that detailed paint work, so we'll get her involved in this 300 build because she freaking digs it. So what do you say? Let's get that done, and we'll get that guy stabbed in there real soon. And just like that, I saved myself probably a number of hours of work in polishing and just making them gold. That way they'll kind of go with the oil pan, and I think we'll just carry that black and gold motif. I always wanted to do that with an engine, so here we are. Can't wait to see what those look like, and we get rid of that intake, and you know, we get something cooler on there down the road. But yeah, be sweet. And that is what we ended up with on the valve covers. We were talking it over with Mom and Dad, Michael and everybody, and we decided instead of doing any kind of red, white, and blue, let's just paint the centers black. And then Anna had the idea of dripping a little bit of red on there, and very happy with that. And we're getting ready to clear coat it with, this is the same kind of clear that was used, well, same brand of clear and same kind of cap and everything as far as the gold. We used this kind of clear on the Barracuda, and it was fine with this craft style paint because this is craft paint more or less. And we're just gonna find out if this works. If not, it's gonna be all cool and wrinkly. So here's to it. Well, 2 to 3 coats of clear coat later, and I'm very happy with that. So Steve, whenever you watch this and you know, when you want to know what valve covers wound up on your engine, we put more time in those valve covers than, well, just about everything else on the engine. And definitely, I mean, we haven't even really spent any time on the car, honest to God. So, most time devoted right there. You're gonna help make that look a little bit better, I think. But yeah, ultimately today, we did not get this stabbed in there because, well, we actually worked on a whole bunch of other stuff, mostly Dad did, as far as getting the transmission in the right place. Got the shifter linkage all hooked back up and got it working with the column shifter, so this should be about ready to accept an engine. Still didn't clean anything up, still don't care, because that's gonna cover it all up just fine. All right, you guys are about to see some of the finest Scott Speed Shop engineering ever on this channel. It took us all of like what, 3 minutes to come up with this? And then we found out Z-body have a third freaking bolt holding the hood on. So, lesson learned there. So, watch as I clean this giant behemoth of a hood off. Speed footage, which they've seen a lot of. It's a freaking guillotine. Look at this thing. There's a huge hood. Hang on. Bring that down on the ground. I'm supposed to be 6 foot tall. I don't even know if I'm in frame, but this hood is just barely shorter than me. It's Dad's height, actually, well here. Maybe if I stand in the middle, it won't be taller. All right, so the damage. That's a hole, that's good. That's not a hole. This is the one time when you actually want to find holes in your hood. And let's see that guy. Yeah, C-body's got that extra hole in the back. That's okay, we only got 3 of those to fix. It's not as bad as, like, I think Jezebel's, we've got basically 3 out of 4 done.
Yeah, still got the little plastic squirter deal still in one piece.
Oh shoot,
A little splitter.
hey. That's all stuff we never have.
Yeah.
So now the 300 is hoodless. We got a lot of room to play. You know, one thing Dad pointed out earlier is how much room there is as far as transmission bell housing and firewall clearance. I mean, it's pretty cool. All right, oh, sun's going down, about time for dinner. We got one more day ahead of us because it's Labor Day weekend, and we'll get that 440 sitting here. Says you did.
Ready to go.
Are you just gonna giggle?
Yeah.
That wasn't creepy, was it? It was a little creepy.
Well, somebody's been staying in the house a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I'm sorry. Cappy wanted to watch sci-fi movies. Am I supposed to tell him no?
I'll be honest. There's never a bad time to tell Cappy no. Cappy. What kind of hodiggery is going on, bud? Athena. What are you wearing? As far as watching movies, which is our big orange cat. Dad, you watch TV all the time with Cappy. He's here just because he wants something to eat. That is true. All right, well, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Are you guys guys ready to see this 300 get its power plant, because I think we've stalled enough. We've had enough fun with this thing. Now it's time to start having fun with this one. So here's to another fantastic hyperlapse, or at least I hope so. Wow! Alrighty, guys and gals, so we took a break last weekend, and actually, instead of getting the 440 stabbed in the 300, we actually went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and we did an unboxing with that really neat little Wind One electric bike. That is something you all need to look up. We just did the review on that. Hopefully you guys watch that video and see that thing, because I was skeptical at first, but that thing is so much freaking fun. And well, even Dad can agree, Mom can agree, and so can Anna. We've all rode it. It does burnouts, it's fast, it's freaking fun. And I just wanted to give that little video there just when it comes out. I just want to let you guys know it's going to be up and out, so it's a good one, I imagine. So now we're on to getting this 440 into this 300, so that way it can be powered, and well, maybe we can get this 300 to where it'll be as fun to toot around as that little K2 electric bike from Wind One. So what do you say? Let's get a power plant stabbed in this some gun. I would love to say something along the lines of, I bet you've never seen a flying 440 before, but if you've watched this channel before, you've seen this before. Alrighty, well, the engine is finally in its place. All the transmission bolts are in. Engine is physically bolted in place. That was a booger, but I'm glad that those aftermarket motor mount adapters actually worked with the anchor stuff, and well, all the other hardware we changed out. So now we're going to get the starter on this, and then once the starter's on, then we're going to drop the whole car back down onto the trailer. And well, technically, it's a bunch of little buttoning up stuff. We could technically get it off the trailer finally and see what this thing looks like with some weight on the nose. So here's to that. Well, how goes it, Dad?
Dewiring.
Yeah, I can see there's some big old cords of wire there. What the heck are you finding?
Well, somebody had taken Romax house wire straight off the battery. Must have been for trailer brakes, because it went tied into a piece they probably took out of their house, all the way back to the trunk, tied it in with the tail lights and brake lights, with little wire nuts and stuff.
Yeah, I started cleaning the dash, getting all the goo off, and Dad noticed this wire right here. And he's like, that doesn't look factory. Especially that end.
Yeah, it's solid wire, it ain't braided wire.
Yeah, so he peeled all that up out of this channel, and see, there's the factory harness wire there. So yeah, this thing was being used for towing, which is kind of neat. But we got the dash cleaned up, and now it doesn't make you feel like you're touching something you're not supposed to. So we still got to do some work in here. I found the missing pieces of trim for the back here, except for they're kind of messed up, so we might still get some more. But yeah, Dad's just running down wires right now, figuring out what's messed up, what's supposed to be there, and just get everything connected that's supposed to be connected before we reinstall the key switch that the local locksmith made us a key for it, and now it works pretty good. So now we got keys to the car, so we'll get that put back in here. But we're going to double check all the wires, and well, things like that little green one that I'm not sure about. I don't think that's supposed to be cut, but we're going to chase it down.
Went to the, it had a cigarette lighter in the back of the console.
Oh, it did?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay. That makes sense, C-body. So, all right, well, here's to chasing down wires until we get to the next part. Alrighty, well, dewiring is just about done for now, as far as removing all the house wiring. So now we're going to get this big old beastie off the trailer finally and see how she looks. Alrighty, well, you'll see that we not only lowered the car, and actually it's much lower than when it was on the trailer now. And well, we just had the idea, you know, technically the barn is uphill, so just pushed off the trailer, and as soon as we gave it a heave, the old big white beast actually just kind of, whew, and yeah, we all kind of had a moment.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight moving that fast.
Yeah, and the wheels were cocked just enough, and I was like, well, there goes that quarter panel, or there goes the hood, or, you know, it could have hit anything. Could have kept going right into the barn. All that momentum charging, but heck yeah.
They just wanted to get close to the ranch.
It did. So this is actually quite a bit of room to play with. It's quite impressive how much actual room you have on this side, because the power steering sector and all that. So yeah, that our exhaust manifolds are going to hook right up. We got prettied up valve covers. We got a nice air cleaner. We're still picking at a carburetor, but this is dang good progress. Says you did.
I think so. I got the starter on, it's all wired up, transmission buttoned up, clutch plate, rear transmission mount, I had to tighten that. Got rid of all the hokey pokey wiring so far right in through here.
That's looking a lot better. How you feel about it, Anna?
I'm thinking you're probably gonna drive this soon.
Well, yeah, it ain't gonna take much. So, and this thing is looking pretty dang cool.
That was a hot wire?
Oh, what are you talking about, Hokey? That looks great.
And this was the main hot wire for the battery that was just twisty nut.
Yeah, this just needs a little bit of electrical tape, Dad.
No,
what are you talking about?
We reuse that on Jezebel.
Yeah, that's where it'll go.
No, satellite. It needs satellite.
There we, yeah. Its wiring leaves a lot to be
desired.
desired.
Here, that little, we'll figure it out. You reuse that soldering.
That's a, I can't even, my phone won't even focus on that bad solder
There's
work.
3 wires soldered together.
That's just,
Somebody took some time to do that.
good Lord. All right, I got something to show you guys, because I was actually just talking with Dad about maybe putting the driver's seat back in that car just so I can sit in there and kind of visualize everything. So I came in here to the shed where we keep our interior stuff. As you can see, the hubcap, parts for other cars, the console for the Polara 500. And here's our seats for our 300 here, and I was not present when they were doing all this work. So you can see up underneath there, nothing. There's our electric motor. Really cool stuff. Let's see. Yeah, this seat's actually in good shape. But here's our passenger seat. I wonder what that crumpled up piece of paper is. Huh. That looks like another freaking build sheet. So we'll have to be really freaking careful, because this thing's actually in like really good shape. It's not like falling apart, but of course it's really tight in there because this seat's actually in really good shape. So that's actually really freaking cool. So you guys would have saw the second part of the video. We went through the build sheet that we had already found. Now we got another one. That's freaking cool. Alrighty, so for actually being my very first build sheet removal, this went really smooth. All I did was pulled this spring up and pushed down on the fabric, and this thing released. So let's see what we got here. I don't think I could be any happier. So I'm going to get this thing flattened out. We'll add this to the collection. And once again, it just proves this car was worth saving, because this documentation is just cooler than heck. Especially because it's right there on this code right there. You'll see axle 51, and then sure grip is checked. This car's got a freaking sure grip. Just proves it once again. Oh yeah. Never take anything for granted. Alrighty, so while Dad got all these holes fixed and new bolts inserted in them, I was test fitting wheels and tires. Well, mostly just wheels. And we have good news. The planned wheels for this thing are going to fit, and I do believe the tires we plan on getting for this thing are also going to fit, so fan-freaking-tastic. You guys will have to wait to see how that turns out, because, well, we still got to figure out how we're going to buy tires for this thing, but yeah, that's down the road. So right now, the main goal is just to see if we can get this old 440 to actually crank in this car. We're going to make new plug wires, dress this thing up just a little bit, make her look a little more Chrysler 300 worthy, I'd say. But right now, the main goal is just to see if we can get this thing to where it'll crank and not let out all the smoke out of the wires. So Dad's on that mission. I have the ignition switch put back in here that we had the local locksmith redo a key for us, and that's working pretty good. So here's to this. Alrighty, well, Mom is hard at work. She is taping off the hood because, well, Dad really wanted me just to go ahead and do something with the bottom side of this hood because it looks like crap. And it looks like even bigger crap now because we ground all the crap off of it, and, well, we've exposed more crap. So the plan is just to go ahead and paint the underside of this hood because it's huge, and, well, now's the best time to do it before we put it back on. So here's to make this thing look, well, not like crap. So you guys are gonna get a good little chuckle out of this moment right here. So literally this morning, Dad and I were talking about how we wanted to end the part 3 of this video, which is the part you're watching right now. And I was like, I don't really know if we should get it to the cranking part because there's still like, there's not that much left to do before it starts. So I don't want to like have a whole video set up, you know, just getting this thing basically ready to run. And here we are. Getting ready to crank it over. But you know what? We've still got a lot of stuff to do on this thing. So, yeah. Because as much as I would like to be that guy and says, yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing running, we still have exhaust manifolds to bolt up. We got to bolt them up to the exhaust there. I've got to prepare a carburetor. We got some duding up to do here. We got plug wires to change. We got a new distributor. We got coil. We actually got to get the oil pressure gauge hooked up somewhere positively. We got a cooling system we might as well go ahead and hook up because we got a radiator, fan. There's so much extra stuff that we're just going to go ahead and do instead of just get this thing to where it'll run. We want to make this thing to where it's ready to rock and roll so we can go straight on to brake work and putting wheels and tires on this, and of course dressing up everything and getting this thing duded up so we can do some little bit of rust repair and get this thing to where it's ready to rock and roll down the road. So here's to it. Alrighty, so let's see what this ignition switch does for us after all that rewiring. Ed, here's to all your quality workmanship. Oh God, and mine. Alrighty, so finally got the key in the right spot. So coolant temperature lights coming on where it says it's hot. Primitive. When you're cranking it, it does? Yeah. There you go, Anna. Well, that is a massive success. I'm just curious. Well, the headlights open?
You want me to go stand in front of it and you try?
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna try and open the headlights.
The light came on.
Well, that one did.
And the rest of it broke off.
So, Dad, I hear you are comfortable enough with all your wiring endeavors that it's time to put this hood back on this some gun.
Now we got power to the ignition. When it's cranking and when it's in the run position. Headlights are kind of working. I mean, I've still got work to do up here.
Yeah, we got to get actual power to the motor to flip the headlights up, but
I think it'll be alright.
so
We're
get this.
morphing 1969 version with RV version, however year that was. And it was two different. The RV was newer because it had electronic ignition and everything.
I think this engine was a 73 or 74 model because it's a steel crank motor, or 72.
Okay.
But it is an electronic engine, and now we have all the electronic stuff, which we didn't get to show you guys. Dad's beautiful little job of installing all that stuff, making it look like it belongs. So we do have electronic ignition on this engine, no points, which normally we don't have a problem with points, but this engine ran so dang good. Let's get that daggone hood on here and really complete this look. with that all said and done, regardless of the headlights opening or not at this point, that just shows we have a long ways to go before this car is completely ready to rock and roll. But heck, we got it to where we can technically get it turning over the key. But like I said, we got exhaust manifolds to bolt up, we got exhaust, we got carburetor, cooling system, and there's a whole bunch of little wiring stuff that we're not really going to include on video because it put everybody to sleep. And plus, Dad is already hard at work because he's bothered by the headlights not opening on their own. So here's to all of that work that you guys won't see, but we will see you next time when we get back to making this thing make vroom vroom sounds and, you know, all the stuff that people like watching on YouTube. So as always, guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. So as always, take care and bye bye. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.